I've always been into horse riding from a young age. Like my grandma had a riding school, my mum always rode as a child, so naturally I was always going to ride. I've had 7 surgeries altogether and 2 more to go.
Ooh, excited about that?
Yeah, I mean, yes.
I was 20 weeks pregnant. I was in the hospital, and when I was being scanned, the scannist, you could tell she was getting quite panicky and was pushing on my stomach and was sort of saying, "Oh, I can't see it." And then she walked off, came back with another doctor, and they sat me down and sort of said they looked at my stomach again, and then they sat me down and said, "We think there's a problem."
For new parents who have just received a diagnosis, the most important thing that other parents tell us is never to Google anything, because you always end up with these horror stories and these pictures and things which just aren't really representative of reality. What they always tell you is try and get some really good quality, reliable information.
I had no idea what they were talking about. My first thoughts were Elephant Man or something like that. And then they explained to me, no, it was just the lip.
A cleft occurs in early pregnancy when different parts of a baby's face develop separately and then join together. It can range from a little notch in the lip to a complete separation of the upper lip, which can extend up and into the nose. A cleft palate is a gap in the roof of the mouth. They can occur separately or together. This is Giraffe, quite an original name for a giraffe. And he went to every single surgery with me since I was 5 years old, and they didn't do it for my most recent one, probably because I'm an adult now.
Cleft is a pretty indiscriminate condition. People of all genders, races are fairly equally impacted by cleft.
For that first day, it was a lot of confusion. And not quite understanding why that would happen to me. I was only 24, I was healthy, they checked me again, and then they took me to a back room to try and explain to me what cleft lip. And then they did say, if you wanted to have a termination, then that's something they would honour. That's when I straight away thought, I thought you just said it was the lip, and that's when you start thinking, what else is there? What are you not telling me? So I was quite amazed to be offered the termination, but since found out so many people opt for it, which is very sad because Katie is an amazing person, and I'm hoping it hasn't held her back at all.
So that's why we have a lot of trained volunteers giving one-to-one support. We have this huge community of people who are all willing to support each other. So I think if you have a diagnosis and your mind's reeling a little bit, you're not really sure what to do, you just have to talk to someone who would really understand.
As a young mum, it's quite scary. She had to be strong. When I was younger and I wasn't in control of anything, she was the one that had to be strong for the 2 of us, and that hasn't stopped since I've got older.
There's research to show that the better supported parents are in the early stages when they get diagnoses. The more support and information they have, the better they feel able to cope with everything, obviously, but also the better they're able to support their child as they grow up and help them feel empowered. And obviously that has a huge impact on well-being.
She was a 5-month-old baby on morphine for 2 weeks, so you just knew that she was in pain.
I used to enjoy going to the hospital, because you got so much attention.
When your child goes under an anaesthetic, there's always that risk, and that is horrendous. That few hours that she's in theatre, I don't know what to do with myself. And the last time I sat and cried.
She's apparently been a mess, because she's like, how could I not have been there? Because every other surgery she's walked me down and everything. It was my last year of primary school, and it was actually one of my closest friend made a comment. One of my other friends was running, and she nearly went into the wall and hit her face, and then one of our other friends was like, oh, good thing you didn't run into that wall, you would look like Katie does. And I was like, oh. It bothered me for a few years, because that's then how I saw myself, as if someone that's run into a brick wall. But then I would meet people, and obviously as people mature, they learn to just ask. They're like, oh, what's happened, what's the scars and that. And I've always been comfortable with talking about it, and I've always said I'd much rather people just ask than stare. Being self-conscious, I struggle with all the time, and that was actually one of the things that got worse as I got older. Because as much as I had those silly comments as a child, I never, as a kid, you don't think about your appearance as much, you know? And as I got older, especially when people start styling their hair and doing their makeup, and that wasn't the issue for me. I would look in the mirror and be like, why do I have to look like this? Meeting new people was the scariest bit, I think, just because you get so scared as to how people are going to react. Instagram's where you have your makeup on and your hair done and you always post the best you look, and this was me at my very worst and very vulnerable. It's just so helpful to see that you actually are making progress, because after the surgery you come out so swollen and everything's changed, and without that account I wouldn't have realised how much progress I was making over the weeks and how the swelling was going down. I think I then started letting my close friends follow it, and I think because of their comments and the way they responded, I felt comfortable to then open it up to other friends.
I think you're in the last lap, certainly for this phase of treatment. But of course, finishing this phase of treatment opens a door to another phase of treatment if you choose. Hopefully we're here to try and support you through whatever decision it is that you make to go on with.
My self-esteem is kind of the reason that I am doing these last 3 surgeries, so on my jaw, my nose and my lip, because they help me in other ways, like medical ways. So with my jaw, I've now got a much better bite, and as soon as all the bands and the braces come off, I'll be able to eat so much better than I ever could before. But my main reason behind it was because my self-esteem, and I needed something that was gonna raise my confidence up. And it wasn't about being pretty, but I just didn't want to stand out. I didn't want to be someone that someone would second look at or anything. I just wanted for everything to be a bit normal in a way.
She's had braces for over 10 years, so for her it's going to be amazing when they come off. I think it's going to make a massive difference for her confidence. So that's the only thing that I do find upsetting and sad, is she doesn't like photos taken of herself, and I think that's such a shame because she's so beautiful. She wants to hide it a little bit, but I think she shouldn't. To me, I feel like I've got an amazing daughter, so it's just a sideline of it.
I realised that I was letting my cleft define me. I was letting that become part of who I am, and it is part of who I am, but in a negative way. And I was like, I don't want that. I don't want to be, Katie Head, the girl with a cleft. That's not what I wanted to be known for, because I can be a fun person. So, and I wanted people to see that side of me.
I cut my mouth open.
But it took ages for me to really fix that in my mind. The positive and bubbly attitude that I have, I don't think I would have as big a one or as strong a one without having a cleft, because I've had to force myself to almost be more positive and enthusiastic to outride the fact of my appearance.
I don't think I've allowed her to be negative about it though. From a very, very young age, it's, it's part of who you are and you just get on with it. And and she's definitely embraced that.
I think you've always faced any issue that's come up from a treatment point of view, and probably also from a lifestyle point of view, with a really bubbly, outgoing, kind of smiley personality that probably anybody who knows Katie Head has seen.
Without question, my biggest inspiration is my mum. I know it's so cheesy and people say it, but I genuinely mean I would not be who I am without my mum. She shaped me into this person, and her being so supportive and kind of given me my own space as well to just have my confidence grow and realise that I'm more than just my cleft, because she's had a very positive attitude through it all. She always said, it's just a cleft. So when you put things into perspective, just looking at it different isn't that crazy, and I can still do everything that I want to do, and in that sense I'm I am happy.
She's vibrant, isn't she? She's alive. You know, in her short life, she's achieved so much. I think she's just, full of happiness and positivity.
The future is a scary question. Studying film, and the film industry has always excited me, and I would love to work in production, and I still want to travel loads. There's a lot more countries for me to see, so I'm just going to see where it takes me.
Very proud of her, and I think that she'll have big things to come going on in her future. It's going to be exciting to watch and to be part of. Bless her.
If I could talk to myself 10 years ago, so I would have been 10, going 11, I'd say don't worry. Everything's gonna be fine, and you've just got to keep being you and positive, and don't let the people that make silly comments affect you or get in your way, because they're the ones that are missing out, because you're a good person to be around, you're fun, and you're going to have really cool experiences ahead of you that the people that judge you and didn't want to be your friend, they've missed out on, and it's been their loss, not yours. So just keep being you and positive, and that's all you can do. Yeah. I'm not used to being in front of the camera, it's weird. Well, you look really good. I know. I'm usually behind it, or I'm telling someone what to do. I can't tell myself what to do.